You're making a mistake right now, and I say that with love, not judgment. The mistake is thinking money comes only from grinding harder, stressing more, or copying what everyone else is doing. I know because I've been there too. I chase. I worried. I stayed up late thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why does it feel like money runs from me? But listen to me closely now, because this message is not like the others you've heard. This is not hype. This is not fake motivation. This is a divine warning and a divine invitation at the same time. I need you to slow down your mind and open your spirit, because what I'm about to share only works if you listen carefully. Not halfway. Not while scrolling. Not while doubting. I want you to hear this the way you'd hear instructions that could change your life forever. And yes, I need you to stay with me until the end, because if you leave early, you might miss the exact sentence your future is waiting on. Let me say this boldly. There are seasons when you chase money, and there are seasons when God makes money chase you. And if you're hearing this right now, I believe with everything in me that you are standing at the edge of one of those seasons. But here's the part most people get wrong. They think the season starts when the bank account changes. No. The season starts when you change, when your awareness shifts, when your spirit lines up with heaven's timing. I remember a season in my life when nothing made sense financially. I was doing the right things. I was working. I was trying. I was praying, but quietly panicking at the same time. And that's when I learned this painful truth. You can pray with your mouth and still block blessings with your mindset. I had faith mixed with fear, trust mixed with anxiety, and that mixture delayed what God was already willing to release. So let me ask you something directly. Are you listening to this message out of curiosity or out of hunger? Because hungry people don't skim divine instructions. Hungry people lean in. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to wake you up. Something is shifting. Systems are changing. Doors are moving. People are being repositioned. And God does not do these things randomly. He does them in seasons. If you've felt an unusual stirring lately, if you felt pressure but also expectation, if you felt like something is about to break open but you can't explain it, that's not coincidence. That's alignment forming. So promise me this. Don't treat this like another video. Treat it like a moment. Because moments are how destinies turn. Now breathe. Stay with me. Because we're about to talk about the season you're in and why money is about to stop running from you. What if the struggle you've been calling delay is actually divine timing protecting you? What if nothing has been wrong with you, only the season you've been standing in? See, once you recognize the season, everything you've been forcing starts responding. Let me tell you something most people never understand. Financial acceleration is seasonal, not accidental. You don't stumble into abundance. You step into it when heaven says, now. And if you miss this, you'll spend years blaming yourself for what was really about timing. I used to think prosperity came only from effort. If I worked harder, I'd win. If I slept less, I'd succeed. If I pushed enough, something would break. But what nobody told me is that you can push in the wrong season and still get nothing. A farmer who plants in winter isn't lazy. He's just out of season. And that's where many people are stuck. Not cursed. Not lazy. Just misaligned with timing. The truth is simple but powerful. God appoints seasons. There is a time to plant, a time to wait, and a time to harvest. When the harvest season comes, the effort looks effortless. What once felt heavy starts flowing. What once resisted you starts responding to you. And here's the key difference you must understand right now. There is a massive difference between chasing money and walking in alignment with God's will. When you chase money, you run in circles. You stress. You compare. You rush. You copy other people's paths and wonder why it doesn't work for you. I've done that. I've watched others win and thought, what do they know that I don't? But alignment changes everything. When you walk in alignment, you stop forcing doors. You stop begging systems. You stop striving from fear. And something supernatural happens. God starts shifting people, systems, and opportunities toward you. Hear me clearly. Prosperity does not begin with hustle. It begins with spiritual awareness, with recognizing, this is not my season to chase. This is my season to prepare, position, or receive. The world tells you, grind harder. God tells you, discern better. And this is where divine favor shows up. Favor doesn't mean you don't work. It means your work finally connects with heaven's timing. Favor makes one phone call do more than 10 years of effort. Favor makes one idea open doors you didn't even knock on. I've seen it happen. I've lived it. Moments where I did less, but aligned more, and suddenly resources showed up from places I never expected. Let me reassure you of this. Promotion does not come from people. Not from your boss. Not from the economy. Not from trends. Promotion comes from God alone. People may sign the checks, but God writes the story. So if you've been overlooked, if you've been delayed, if you've been wondering why things haven't moved yet, don't panic. Ask a better question. What season am I in? Because when your season shifts, money doesn't need to be chased. It recognizes you. And this right now, might be the moment you realize that your season is changing. Now here's the part most people miss, and it's why many never see the harvest. A season can open, yet still remain inaccessible if your inner posture is wrong. Before anything shifts around you, something must settle within you. Let me be honest with you, because I care about your future too much to lie to you. One of the biggest reasons people block their own blessings is not lack of effort, it's anxiety. And I know this because I've wrestled with it myself. I prayed, but I worried. I trusted God, but I still compared myself to others. And that inner tension quietly shut doors I was asking God to open. You need to hear this clearly. God's provision flows through alignment, not anxiety. Anxiety feels productive, but it's actually spiritual noise. It scrambles your focus. It makes you rush decisions. It pushes you to move before God says move. And when you move early, you step outside of grace and into struggle. I've done that. I've forced things that looked good on the surface, but drained me underneath. Alignment, on the other hand, feels calm, even when nothing makes sense yet. When you are aligned, you're not panicking over timelines. You're not losing sleep over what someone else has. You're not measuring your worth by numbers on a screen. You're rooted. You're steady. You're grounded in trust. And trust is not passive. Trust is active obedience without anxiety attached. Let me say that again. Trust is obedience without panic. Most people want the blessing, but they don't want the posture required to carry it. They want peace after the breakthrough, but God gives peace before the breakthrough. That peace is proof that you're ready. I had to learn to stop checking what everyone else was doing. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to drain divine flow. The moment you start measuring your path against someone else's, you disconnect from your own assignment. And once you disconnect from assignment, provision slows down. You don't need their season. You need your alignment. This is why seeking God first changes everything. When you put Him first, priorities shift. Decisions become clearer. You stop asking, how fast can I get this? And start asking, is this what I'm supposed to do now? And when you live that way, something powerful happens. You start resting while still moving forward. Rest does not mean doing nothing. Rest means doing the right thing without fear pushing you. Rest means you're no longer driven by scarcity. You're driven by direction. I remember a time when I felt pressure to say yes to opportunities that didn't feel right. They looked profitable, but my spirit felt heavy. Every time I ignored that feeling, I paid for it later. Stress increased. Joy decreased. Momentum stalled. But the moment I learned to pause, pray, and trust, doors opened that required less effort and produced more fruit. That's alignment. You are not behind. You are being positioned. So I need you to release the anxiety. Release the comparison. Release the fear of missing out. You cannot miss what God has reserved for you. When you trust Him fully, He directs your steps clearly. And when your steps are directed, provision follows naturally. Alignment brings peace, yes, but peace alone doesn't unlock provision. There is a step that separates those who feel close from those who actually receive. And this step will require movement, not comfort. Let me challenge you now, because this part separates listeners from receivers. God responds to obedience, not intention. You can mean well and still stay stuck. You can have good thoughts and still see no movement. Heaven responds when faith becomes action. I learned this the hard way. There were moments when I felt clearly nudged to act, to give, to move, to start, to stop, but I hesitated. I wanted guarantees. I wanted clarity before commitment. But faith doesn't work like that. Faith moves first and understands later. And this is where supernatural provision is unlocked. Obedience is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a small decision nobody sees. Sometimes it's saying no when you want to say yes. Sometimes it's giving when it doesn't make sense. But every time you obey, you send a signal to heaven. You can trust me with more. I want you to understand this deeply. Small acts of obedience create large streams of provision. God watches how you handle the little before He releases the much. Not because He's testing you, but because He's protecting you. I've seen people pray for overflow while mishandling basics. I've seen people ask for increase while ignoring instruction. And I've seen financial leakage happen when alignment is off. Money comes in, but it disappears just as fast. That's not bad luck. That's misalignment. When you obey, even when outcomes are unclear, you step into a flow that effort alone can't create. Obedience positions you under grace, and grace multiplies results. There were times I obeyed, and nothing changed immediately. That's where most people quit. But obedience is not about instant results. It's about long-term release. What you obey today may unlock something weeks, months, or even years later. But it will unlock. Faith without action stays theoretical. God moves when you move. And hear this carefully. Obedience does not mean perfection. It means responsiveness. When God redirects you, you respond. When He corrects you, you adjust. When He prompts you, you act. That's how provision becomes consistent instead of random. You don't need to see the full picture. You just need to take the next faithful step. And when you do, heaven backs it. Obedience opens doors, but what you do after the door opens determines how long it stays open. Increase is not the test. Stewardship is. Because what God releases next will reveal why He released it at all. Now let me reset your perspective, because this part matters more than you think. God does not bless you so you can feel superior. He blesses you so you can become a child. Wealth without purpose leads to pride. And pride shuts down spiritual flow faster than anything else. I had to learn that money is not the goal, it's the tool. When I made money the goal, I felt empty even when I gained. When I made impact the goal, provision followed naturally. God is not against wealth. He's against misused wealth. When your heart is right, money amplifies good. When your heart is wrong, money magnifies damage. That's why character matters before increase. You are not meant to hoard. You are meant to circulate blessing. To give. To help. To build. To support missions bigger than yourself. And the beautiful part is this: generosity keeps you in flow. When you release, God replenishes. When you give freely, you receive consistently. This isn't about guilt. It's about design. I've watched giving unlock doors I couldn't force open. I've seen generosity bring connections, favor, and opportunities money alone couldn't buy. When wealth is purpose-driven, it stays sustainable. So, don't fear success. Just carry it with humility. Stay grateful. Stay grounded. Stay generous. Because when God knows He can trust your heart, He has no problem trusting you with increase. And that's how money doesn't just come to you, it keeps coming through you. When wealth finds purpose, confidence begins to rise quietly. Not the kind that boasts, but the kind that stands unshaken when opportunities start knocking. And soon, you won't be chasing anything anymore. Now listen to me closely, because this is where everything comes together. This is where fear exits and confidence enters. This is where you stop shrinking and start standing tall. Not in arrogance, not in ego, but in quiet, unshakable confidence. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing God is backing you. This is the season where you stop wondering if it will happen and start preparing for how you will steward it when it does. I need you to understand this truth deep in your spirit. When God releases provision, He also releases responsibility. And the way you walk now determines how well you carry what's coming. Confidence does not mean shouting. Confidence does not mean flexing. Confidence means you no longer chase validation, approval, or survival. You move with intention. You speak with clarity. You decide with peace. I have noticed something powerful in my own life. The moment I stopped begging opportunities and started expecting alignment, everything changed. Conversations felt different. Doors opened without force. People started reaching out instead of me chasing them. That's when I realized money responds to identity. When you see yourself as lacking, you chase. When you see yourself as aligned, things pursue you. This is why arrogance kills blessing, but confidence sustains it. Arrogance says, I did this. Confidence says, I'm entrusted with this. And God keeps trusting those who stay grounded. I want you to expect divine connections. Expect unexpected opportunities. Expect ideas that feel bigger than you, but right on time. Not because you're special on your own, but because you're positioned. And let me warn you lovingly, when blessings increase, distractions increase too. Noise gets louder. temptations get stronger. That's why you must remain faithful after the breakthrough, not just before it. I've seen people pray for abundance and fall apart when it arrives. Not because money is evil, but because they weren't anchored. Stay anchored. Remember who you are. Remember who gave you the power to create wealth. Remember that everything flowing toward you has an assignment attached to it. This is not a season to shrink, but it's also not a season to boast. It's a season to walk steadily. And if things seem slow right now, don't panic. Visions don't rush. They arrive at the appointed time. Delay does not mean denial. Silence does not mean absence. God is never late. So lift your head. Adjust your posture. Watch your words. Guard your habits. Because when money starts chasing you, your character must be strong enough to lead it, not be led by it. You are not guessing anymore. You are walking with awareness. And this is only the beginning. At this point, listening is no longer enough. What God has stirred must now be spoken, sealed, and received. Because alignment without prayer leaves the door unlocked, but unopened. You've heard the message, and now this is the moment where it moves from information to transformation. This isn't something you rush past. This is where alignment becomes real. I want you to stay right here with me. Quiet your space if you can, and don't just listen. Pray this with me. Say it out loud if possible, because what you speak in faith, heaven responds to. Let's step into this together. Father God, I come before you right now, not distracted, not rushed, but aware of your presence. I thank you that you see me, you know me, and you understand exactly where I am in this season. I choose to align my heart with you in this moment. I open myself fully to your voice, your timing, and your will. I am here, God. I'm listening. I am ready. Lord, I release every burden I've been carrying that you never asked me to hold. I let go of fear about money, stress about the future, and anxiety about provision. I release comparison, disappointment, and every past failure that tried to define me. I break agreement with scarcity, lack, and survival thinking. I declare that these weights no longer have power over me. I trust you with what I cannot control. God, remind me who I am. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. You. I am not overlooked. I am your child, positioned and prepared for such a time as this. I receive your truth over my life, that I am chosen, guided, and sustained by you. I stand in my identity, not in my circumstances. I believe that my season is not delayed, it is appointed. Right now, I boldly declare with my own mouth, this is my season of alignment. This is my season of divine favor. I declare that I will no longer chase money in fear, but I will walk in obedience and let provision find me. I declare that God orders my steps, opens the right doors, and connects me to the right people. I declare that money will no longer run from me, because I am walking in God's timing. Father, prepare my heart for increase. Teach me to steward well what you place in my hands. Keep me humble as you elevate me, generous as you bless me, and obedient as you guide me. Let wealth never change my character, only expand my impact. Use me as a channel, not the container. Let everything you release through me bring glory to you and good to others. And now, God, I receive what you are releasing. I receive divine ideas, divine connections, and divine opportunities. I receive peace as I wait and confidence as I walk. I choose expectation over fear and faith over doubt. I declare that I will recognize my season and respond with obedience. I trust that what you promised will come at the appointed time, and I will be ready when it does. And then, after amen, I need you to stay right here. Don't move yet. What God has stirred in you through this prayer is not meant to end here. It's meant to be activated. There is still one more instruction, one more moment of alignment, and if you leave now, you may step away just before the seal is placed on what heaven has started. You didn't find this message by accident, and you're not hearing it just for yourself. I'm speaking to you as a divine messenger because God is using this channel as a river. What flows through it reaches souls you may never meet, hearts you may never touch, but lives that will be changed because you chose to partner with the work of God. When you give, you're not funding content. You're sowing seed into fertile ground where light breaks chains, where oil heals wounds, and where manna reaches the hungry at the exact moment they're about to give up. I hear the Father say to you now, this is the ground I have assigned you to sow into in this season. As you release, He releases. As you open your hand, He opens heaven. This is not a casual moment. This is a divine appointment, a holy exchange. I speak blessing over every seed you sow. May it return multiplied, protected, and pressed down with favor. Now obey the nudge in your spirit. Support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, and do it now. And before you go, I want you to hype this video. Don't just like it, hype it as a prophetic act. When you hype this message, you're declaring, this season is real, and I want others to step into it too. Let the algorithm hear what heaven already knows. This word carries weight. Now I want you to interact with this moment. In the comments, declare boldly, this is my season. Money will chase me as I walk with God. Speak it, don't whisper it. And if you're carrying a specific prayer request, financial, personal, emotional, or spiritual, write it down there too. We are watching and we will pray with you because you were never meant to fight or believe alone. And finally, let me say this gently but firmly. If this channel has become a place where you pray, breathe, realign, and find strength, then don't walk alone anymore. This is a daily altar, a shield in the storm, a lifeline for your spirit. Subscribe now. Amen.